Welcome to our episode about basic command jobs. In this episode I will show you where you can configure your login credentials, but also how easy it is to make any changes in your network by using the NetYCE command job tool. In NetYCE we use domains to link our login credentials with our nodes. By default all CMDB nodes are linked to the domain called ICE. To show you where you can see this, we go to the CMDB node overview. We go to operate and then we go to the page CMDB. When you click on a node here, you will see it has a direct link to a domain called ICE. To find the domain page, we go back to build and we click on domain. When you're in the domain page and you select your domain ICE, you will see the following page pops up. In here you can set multiple credentials for multiple different types of users. In our case we're only going to set the RMA user. RMA is being used by NetYCE to connect toward your node by SSH or Telnet. So make sure that the username and password you fill in here is the correct username and password to let NetYCE connect towards your devices. If your SSH user by default is not logged in under privilege mode, you can set a default enable secret. To do this, you go to the management tab and here on the right top you will see default enable secret. When NetYCE connects towards your machine, it will recognize if it's not in the correct mode, and it will raise the user's mode by using this default enable secret command. Since our credentials are now set up, we will now make a basic command job. We go to operate, node config, and here we click on basic command job. All the CMDB nodes by default will be connected toward the ICE domain, so we can just click on it and click on the arrows toward the right side. You will now see your devices and click on next. Here we can select the devices we want to send the command job toward to, and in here we can actually fill in the command. Before we do that, I want to show you my test setup. I simulated 3 HP Converse 7 devices in a network simulator from HP. What I want to do is, as a first test, I want to deploy a new VLAN towards these devices. To show you that the VLAN does not exist yet, we'll go to the core device. You see, at the moment we have VLAN 1 and VLAN 99 here. And we'll do the same for the access switch. And the same for the other access switch. So, as you will see here, for all 3 devices, I only have VLAN 1 and VLAN 99. Now for our first job, I want to create a new VLAN. So let's say we want to create VLAN 700. So what I do here is I select the devices I want to send the job toward to, and in here I type the command. So I want to create VLAN 700 with the description test command job. What you can do now is you can click here on the evaluate button to see how the code would look like. This is what's going to be sent toward the device, so that's good. Now here you can schedule it, because if you have a maintenance window and you say like, okay, I can only make changes between 5 or 6 at night, you can schedule it here for tomorrow at 5. But in our case we will do it now. So do you want to schedule it now? Yes. And we click on schedule. When you go here on the left to jobs, you will see the jobs which are being scheduled by NetYCE toward the nodes. And as you can see, they're running. First one is done, second one is done, and the third one is also done. So now when I go back toward my devices here, I should see this new VLAN. VLAN 700. VLAN 700 and VLAN 700. As you can see, the command jobs are really an easy and fast way to deploy new code, but also to schedule it for a later time during the day or during the week. When you want to see a more detailed overview of what actually happened in the job, you can go to operate and you can click on the tab job logs. In here you can now see the latest jobs that run and how long it took them to make the changes. If we take one of our latest jobs, let's say we take the one of access number 2, we click on it, And then in here you see a brief overview of what happened, but when you want to see the full log, you click here on Files on Genesis, and then in here you will see in detail what actually happened on the device. So you will see here the device goes in system view, and from here on it starts to push the new code, and then when it's finished it saves it, it makes a backup, and it exits. You can see here when you do a command job something more happens, because NetYCE is making a backup when it starts sending commands, but also afterwards it makes a backup of the changes. This is a topic we will handle later on in another course, but it's important that you know that you have a backup before the command job is pushed and you have a backup after the command job is pushed. What is also useful to know is that you can save your command jobs. So if you have something that comes back occasionally, or you're just preparing a command job for a job next week or in 2 weeks, you can type everything in here and load it afterwards. So in here you will see for on the loaded jobs I created one, which is called create new user, but you can also easily create them yourself. So in here, for example, we type undo VLAN 700 to remove our VLAN. We give it a name here, and we click on save. Now here under load job you will see there is another command job you can load. So we have to create comware user, and we have to undo VLAN 700. So that was it for this episode. In the next episode we will continue on this topic, but we will go a little bit deeper, because I did not want to overwhelm you with everything the command job tool can do. So in this episode I mainly focused on simple text command jobs, but in the next episode we will use the NetYCE intelligence and conditionals to show you what other tricks you can actually do with the command job. So I hope to see you in the next episode.